Hey everyone, Dr. Jordan Peterson's in the news again today, this time as a response to his proposition to push back even more than he's already done against these social justice warriors, these cultural Marxists, these postmodernist types, and point out to the people of Canada that, yeah, these are the people that you need to concern yourself with. So all he is doing, right, he's not trying to seek out any political power or using force or violence against his opponents. All he is suggesting is, I want to shine a big giant spotlight on these people. But as we're seeing time and time again, the people he opposes, every time their narrative is challenged or a spotlight is shined upon it, they want to scurry away and hide in deep recesses or completely use political propaganda or try to paint people such as Jordan Peterson as what? I guess, well, I don't know what they're going to use now, but we've already heard people, they've accused him of being a Nazi, right? An alt-righter, when the man has described himself as basically being a classical liberal. And based on everything I've heard from him so far and the things he espoused and the principles that he stands behind and the convictions that he promotes, yeah, he seems, yes, a genuinely classical liberal. Yes, libertarians that are all about promoting, the individual, and classical liberals were supposed to be all about that too. So yeah, we're all completely in line as far as, hey, if you want to do something, whether other people agree with it or not, if you want to dress as a woman and you're actually, genetically a man, hey, who cares? If you want to be a transgender, but we're not going to try to redefine what it is to be a man or woman, what it is to be male or female, right? Those are settled science. That's just like 2 + 2 = 4. Yeah, we're not going down that road where now we're going to try to pretend that 2 + 2 is 4.5, right? And we're not going to go down that road and try and suggest that there's not two genders. There's two genders. There's male and female. There are men and women, right? Boys and girls. And yes, of course, we accept that some people want to play in that middle ground and maybe choose to identify as one or the other. But you know what? Listen, you can choose to do whatever you want in your own personal life, as long as you're not harming or imposing your will or your edicts or your preferences on anyone else. Hey, you can identify as a fucking unicorn as far as the rest of us are concerned, right? As far as libertarians or classical liberals or even some like genuine conservatives, they might not agree with you, but I'm sure even some conservatives would say, listen, do your fucking thing. While modern conservatives, some of the conservatives, the traditionalists in the religious aspect may not agree. They might be more fundamentalist in their approach, but Jordan Peterson is not one of those people. Jordan Peterson is the kind of person that's just trying to say, listen. Let's stop trying to distort reality. Let's stop screwing with the fucking language and what proper knowledge entails, right? We didn't work hard for hundreds of years to get to this common sense knowledge that we all have today in regards to sex and gender, for these political activists to try to turn around and say, oh, no, listen, we can be whatever we want. We can identify in any manner we see fit, and you have to accept that. Now, you can, like I say, in a world of free markets and free ideas and freedom, you can do all that. But you don't get to force or impose your will on everyone else. Like I say, you can identify as unicorn. You can identify as Santa Claus or the Easter Bunny if you want. Doesn't mean that the rest of us are going to fall in line or believe that you are the Easter Bunny or Santa Claus. But what this article is pertaining to is the response from Jordan Peterson saying their concepts are antithetical to common sense, science, and reason. I mean, just the sheer fact that they're this outraged by nothing more than Jordan Peterson, like I say, just being willing to shine the spotlight on them. It's like, well, what do you got to hide, right? You should be able to defend your premises, your ideology, or your social constructs. You should be able to defend that stuff. If you're trying to propagate that stuff as something that should be widely accepted, then hey, what problem could you possibly have with Jordan Peterson more or less just shining the spotlight on you? You should be appreciative of the fact that now you're going to have an even larger platform and more people paying attention to you. So if your ideas are correct and instinctually proper or scientifically based or morally or ethically consistent, then you should be thankful and appreciative of the fact that Jordan Peterson is willing to shine the spotlight on you and your ideas, on your ideology. But of course you're not. Because like I say, they want to be able to do this stuff while they're flying under the radar. They want to propagate this stuff to the ignorant youth or those in college or university. You know, those that haven't completely formulated in their mind what it really means to be a man or a woman. Those who haven't had enough life experience to understand that yes, there are genuine biological differences and there are definitely only two genders on this planet. There are people that have mental issues that wish that wasn't the case, but most of us, you know, at some stage in your life, you come to realize that, yep, there's men and women. And then there's that gray area in between, but they're still men or women, and they may want to choose to identify with the opposing sex that they were born with, or somewhere in between, in some gray area along that scale. But once again, if you did a DNA test, right, if you did a chromosome test, you would find out that no, you were either a man or a woman. Psychologically, yeah, you can dream up whatever scenario you want. Like I said, be a unicorn. It's all good. But don't think for a second that you're going to be able to force your pretense that you identify a unicorn on the rest of us. Because, yeah, the minute you tell me that I have to be enslaved to your ideas and identify you as a unicorn, even when I recognize, oh, you're not a fucking unicorn. The minute you try to entrench that into law, make that some kind of legality, you better believe there's going to be an uprising. And Jordan Peterson is leading the charge against your goddamn bullshit. Now I'm going to play, it's about a 6-minute segment from this particular CBC article with the headline, it's from As It Happens, with the headline, U of T profs alarmed by Jordan Peterson's plan to target classes he calls indoctrination cults. Yeah, he's absolutely right, indoctrination cults. So let's listen and hear what they have to say.
Professor Pete, that clip was from July that we heard from Jordan Peterson. What have you been hearing about this proposed website?
Well, the idea is to ferret out university courses containing content that he doesn't like. A specific goal that he mentioned is trying to reduce enrollment by 75% in just 5 years. As a science professor, I'm not specifically targeted, but I still believe this website is morally wrong. A number of students and faculty members who I'm in correspondence with are concerned about his plans.
All right, and what you're referring to is he said that these are part of what he says the postmodern neo-Marxist agenda, ethnic studies, racial studies, women's studies, and said that this kind of ideology has corrupted sociology, anthropology, English literature, faculties of education, and the faculties of law that are taught in universities. What do you understand to be postmodern neo-Marxism?
Well, he hasn't given a very clear definition of that. He's been very vague about many of the details of his proposed website. My question is, who exactly will decide what content...
Okay, before I continue any further, Jordan Peterson gave very defined meanings and descriptions for postmodernism and Marxism. To pretend that Jordan Peterson is vague in his description, right? I mean, think of the hundreds of hours of videos and literature and lectures he's done regarding and pertaining to this particular topic. But to suggest that he didn't do his homework to give people an idea or understanding of what he's trying to talk about, I mean, right away, that's already... alarm bells are already going off in my mind. It's like, yeah, this person is completely misrepresenting Dr. Jordan Peterson's stance.
Which faculty members should be flagged, and why are no details of this decision-making process available yet? I don't trust Peterson, or indeed any one individual, no matter how clever they are, to actually fairly adjudicate the question of which courses should be happening at a given university.
But he says that he has developed this, somebody else is developing this website, and that it's going to be, there's an artificial intelligence bot that will be able to identify such content, such, as he calls ideology, in a course, in the syllabus of any program, and be able to warn students about that so they can decide for themselves.
I would comment just one specific thing in this regard, and that is that an artificial intelligence bot is only ever as good as the structural assumptions that underpin it. And if the person programming it has a certain set of political beliefs about the way society and the people in it works, then those beliefs will be reflected in the mechanism that the AI learns. And so I would say that it's very much pertinent who's deciding how to run this bot.
The faculty members at the University of Toronto's Women's and Gender Studies Institute, this is why we're talking today, they've expressed deep concern about this proposed website, and they've warned the administrators of the university. They believe that they will be subjected to harassment, and that this could lead to, quote, unsafe work and study conditions for students, faculty, and staff. What do you make of that?
So, once again, even listen to what they're suggesting. These people that put forth these fucking goddamn indoctrination courses, they're like, oh, but if anyone hears about them, they might go against us, and it may cause some backlash against the kind of fucking rhetoric or propaganda we're trying to put forth. Really? So what they're saying is, we don't want our ideas challenged in any way, shape, or form. We want to be able to put them out there on the political landscape, or through the airwaves, or through the halls of academia. We want to put forth and present these narratives as being something, what, based in what science or biology or I don't know, environmental factors or whatever basis, right? They're saying they want to do that, but they don't want anyone to have any pretense or ability to critique them or rebut the kind of premises they try to put forth or present. That's basically what they're saying. It's like, no, leave us alone. We want to be able to put forth our bullshit propaganda, and we don't want anyone to be able to challenge our ideas or those narratives.
I would agree with them. This is part of a pattern, by the way. Peterson has also recently participated in doxing students at other universities who opposed him speaking on another campus.
Can you just describe what doxing is?
Doxing is when people who are malevolent ferret out as much information as they can find on any forum, anywhere, and try to use.
So now he's even trying to suggest that Peterson's some evil and vile, malevolent person, right? Got horns growing out. And he's just going after these poor, innocent students. When in reality, we all know the fucking truth. It's these students that try to bully him, right? And try to shut down his speech or negate his speech or use force, intimidation, or violence against his speech. Now they're trying to paint him as being the oppressor, right? He's the evil, what? Like, have you ever seen Jordan Peterson? I mean, he looks like he's a fairly tall dude, but he's fairly thin. He's not intimidating in any way, shape, or form. But they're trying to paint him as this vile bully, instead of acknowledging the fact that, no, he's the one that's constantly bullied by these people. And all he's doing is, like I said, shining a spotlight on them. These darkness dwellers, they're just scared to death that now they're going to have their narratives challenged. Now they're going to have the spotlight shined upon them. And they don't know what to do. They're awestruck. They're like a deer with the headlights shining at them. They're like a cockroach when you turn the fucking light on. They're like scrambling. They don't know what to do.
Use it to harass the person and bring bad consequences upon them.
How popular do you think Professor Peterson's ideas are?
Well, they're popular enough that he's been earning, the last time I was able to check his Patreon earnings, he was earning over $50,000 a month.
You point out that your faculty and your discipline is not a target of Professor Peterson. What has been your experience with Professor Peterson?
Well, he has used social media and other channels to invite his followers and fans to harass people who disagree with him publicly, and that has included me. I've had harassment from in my telephone, text messages, emails, every channel that they could find, Twitter, Facebook, every method that they could find, they harassed me with, and a lot of it was extremely unpleasant.
We interviewed Professor Peterson over a year ago. It was after he declared himself refusing to use gender-neutral pronouns, when interacting with transgender students, and that he would not support human rights legislation that was aimed at protecting gender identity against discrimination. I just want to ask you to react to one thing that he said to us. We're going to play a clip of Professor Peterson as he spoke to us.
And I can tell you one thing that I'm very terrified of, and you can think about this. I think that the continual careless pushing of people by left-wing radicals is dangerously waking up the right wing. And so you can consider this a prophecy for me if you want. The inside the collective is a beast, and the beast uses its fists. And if you wake up the beast, then violence emerges. And I'm afraid that this continual pushing by radical left-wingers is going to wake up the beast.
That was Professor Peterson from just over a year ago.
And based on what you've heard from what Jordan Peterson said himself, he's neither a right-wing radical or a left-wing radical. That the fact that he said, hey, we don't want you fucking dipshit super ultra leftists, you people that propagate your own particular brand of radicalism, we don't want you waking up. Yeah, we recognize, and he recognizes, that there's a polar opposite to these leftist collectivists, and that's the right-wing collectivists. And he's even pointing out the fact, which I agree with him wholeheartedly, is you don't want to wake up those beasts, because those beasts, or that beast in the collective sense, is much more powerful. They have much more strength, resolve, courage, and convictions. So if you want to wake them up, I guess what he's saying is, if you want to wake them up, well, I'm just trying to tell you and raise the alarms here, is it's really bad idea to do so. Because then you're just going to have two warring factions of completely extremist ideologies, and it's going to bring the rest of us into the fight. It's going to cause the rest of us to have to intervene in some way. It's going to have massive negative consequences and ramifications for those of us that don't align with either of these extremists from both sides of the political spectrum, or the ideological spectrum.
What do you make of that?
Those are violent words. I personally think that that kind of quote makes him come across as desperate to insulate himself from social progress. I don't think...
So listen to what this guy's saying. Those are violent words. By Jordan Peterson merely pointing out that, if you left-wing extremists keep pushing your extremist agenda, then the right-wing extremists are going to rise up, and we've seen that. I mean, look at the reality is out there. You can't deny it. They're going to rise up, and they're going to oppose you. But yet he, which would be like the referee, the one that's saying, hey, fuck both you dipshits, he's basically saying neither one of you should be poking or instigating each other, but the leftists are the ones that are doing the constant poking and instigating. So of course his focus is mainly towards them. It's like, stop poking and instigating. But this guy's trying to suggest by Peterson saying, hey, stop poking and instigating. I guess Peterson is what? Violent. He's using violent words. Like I say, these fucking people are ideologues. They're mentally disturbed in reality. As far as I'm concerned, the kind of people that talk like this, I've never heard this kind of speech ever in my fucking life, in my personal life, and I've been alive for 47 years. So these people, they're definitely mentally fucking disturbed. I can recognize a mentally disturbed and deranged individual when I see or hear him, and this person is mentally deranged and disturbed.
That's the hallmark of a respected public intellectual. Instead, it's the hallmark of a scared old white man who's terrified of his own increasing irrelevance. He also tries to blame the violence. An
old white man who's scared of his own irrelevance, but yet Jordan Peterson has gained more popularity in the last year as a result of him speaking out in opposition to these fucking left-wing extremists. But yeah, he's trying to bait that he's not relevant. Well, then why in the hell, if you're trying to suggest that Jordan Peterson is irrelevant, why are you fucking scared of him? Why are you worried? Right? Like, if it's just some idiot stand in the corner and say aliens are going to land, are you really concerned about that guy? Really? Were you scared he's going to he's going to destroy all the stuff that you were so astute and intellectually observant about, and all the kind of premises you put forth, all that hard work you did to put forth your particular ideology, you're suggesting that this mentally disturbed, insignificant U of T professor is a threat in some way, in some capacity? Yeah, that's not seeming to working out there. Pick one or the other, but you can't, like I say, the kind of narrative this guy's putting forth it just shows it's so empty, it's so void of anything even morally or philosophically consistent. It's just someone scrambling, right? Reaching and grasping for anything to try to salvage his reputation or to salvage the kind of bullshit propaganda he put forth. And now that the light shined upon, it's like, oh no, please, no. I'm doing my best. I'm in full-on damage control mode. He sucks at it. He's failing at it. I'm sure there's some people who might agree or align with him, but like I say, more and more of the population, the more they listen to this kind of stuff, the kind of rhetoric that's espoused from these fucking leftist collectivists, these social justice warrior, politically correct, culture Marxist, postmodernists, the more people hear from them, the more they turn away from them. So like I say, he's just basically continually suggesting that stop shining the spotlight on me. When I want the spotlight on me, I'll make sure it's only shined when I have the best exposure, right? When I got my best side showing, or when I deem it suitable.
That is being incited by alt-righters like himself on people who would oppose fascists, and it's a very common tactic.
Alt-righters like himself. Like I say, listen to this guy. Jordan Peterson has already said with unquestionable clarity that he is not an alt-righter. But apparently this person thinks that he gets to define who Jordan Peterson is, right?
To try to blame any violence that might occur on people opposing violent people. So I personally don't take his prophecies particularly seriously, but I do take threats of violence and setting up platforms designed to unleash harassment on people he doesn't like. I do take those issues very seriously, and I'm concerned about them.
Just finally, what would you advise the university to do at this point?
It's well above my pay grade to advise my own university on how to handle the difficult case of Jordan Peterson. But I think that his behavior has been escalating, and it's escalating to the point where there's clear damage that has been done in the past, and there's threats to do more damage in the future. And I think that if Peterson wants to offer his own online university, he should resign his job at the University of Toronto and see where the students flock to his online university. If he's still pulling a paycheck from the University of Toronto, then using any aspect of his public prominence to set up a harassment platform against people he doesn't like, that's a very hypocritical way of looking at free speech. I mean, Jordan Peterson seems to be in favor of free speech if it agrees with him, and not in favor of free speech if people disagree. That's a very insular kind of perspective.
All right, we'll leave it there. Professor Pete, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
And obviously Jordan Peterson has never suggested any pretense of shutting down other people's free speech. Matter of fact, I'm pretty sure he'd be more than willing to sit up on a stage and debate people such as this U of T professor. He don't want to squish your free speech. Jordan Peterson is armed with the tools that can destroy your fucking rhetoric. So he definitely doesn't want to squish or quell your free speech. He wants to be able to put you out there. That's literally why he's trying to shine the spotlight on you. Is like, here, speak away. And matter of fact, I want everybody to be paying attention to the kind of rhetoric and ideology that you're trying to put forth. That's literally what he's trying to do, is trying to shine a spotlight on you. So no, it's not about silencing your speech. It's about giving you a platform so that you can do all the harm yourself. Jordan Peterson don't have to do anything to cause any harm to you. Just allowing people to hear the kind of bullshit that you have to espouse will cause as much damage that is needed or necessary. It's Canadian Libertarian, and I love liberty.